Konnichi-WHAAAA!
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artists React. Today, we are going back to our roots. We are looking at Sonic.
Sonic 3. Also, well, if you're into furry little guys, well, we have two other films that have furry little guys. Well, and one of us not that furry, but he's a little guy. His name's Jaden Smith.
Also, Daredevil just dropped on Disney, and there's an incredible one-take shot pretty early in the first episode. People have been telling us to look at that, and here we are.
Sonic 3 has some surprisingly sweet stuff in it.
Project Shadow is far beyond anything we've ever encountered.
I mean, honestly, Jim Carrey carries the movie.
Jim carries the movie.
Yes. There's Tails, there's Sonic, there's Knuckles, there's Shadow, who has a gun.
I've never played Sonic. I've never watched any of the Sonic movies. I know nothing about Sonic other than the fact that it started VFX Artists React.
There's a scene at the very beginning of the movie that completely blew me away because as I was watching it, I knew everything I was seeing wasn't real, but it looks so dang good. Let's watch it.
Wow.
Why is this intersection famous in Tokyo?
Because there's too many people.
It's one of the busiest intersections of the world as far as the people that go through this place on a daily basis.
It's so busy that I've seen other movies straight up just rebuild the entire intersection in some parking lot.
This is where we're at. It looks like they've shrunk it down a little bit. But even still, I'm just blown away with how good and convincing this looks. How natural it looks too. Like I can't even tell you where the CGI starts and ends. Obviously it starts
I think it's all CG.
The vehicles and the people?
I think the vehicles and the people are all CG.
Yeah, there's that question of what's easier at this point? It could also be on a set with a bunch of extensions in the background. Because directors like to film their things for real, you know?
I think a lot of this stuff is still real.
Yeah, I think the cars and people are real.
Probably more of this is CGI than I think it is because the next few scenes that happen here are just all CGI characters after this.
There is the question of how do you deal with rain? All this rain must be CGI rain, except for the rain being caught in the headlights. All the stuff in the foreground, you see as the camera moves, the rain turns sideways, that's all a filter that somebody's animated by hand. But then you have, if there's real rain on set, which there probably was, if this is a real set, the headlights would pick it up, so they have to match the fake foreground rain filter to the lights. Trying to roto the background through rain would be such a pain. I'm sure there's stuff added in, but I'm getting the impression that we're looking at real people in costumes and real cars and motorcycles, for the most part, and a rain that's on set, but so thin that you can't see it unless it's in the headlights, and then all the background is added in post.
You know what would make this really hard, though? Specifically, what makes working on this movie so hard? What do you name the files for this character, Is it Shadow Pass? Or is it diffuse shadow pass? Wait, hold on. What's going on here, guys? And you're trying to composite this and
Dude, that's a deep joke. That's a deep joke.
That's the nerdiest joke I've ever heard.
Okay, sorry.
Man, watching all these cool clips of Team Sonic is reminding me of how cool our team here at Corridor is. I mean, we've got our own Tails, we've got our own Shadow, and I'm Knuckles. It's impossible to overstate how important it is to have a good team around you, and if you're a business owner, you can use today's sponsor, ZipRecruiter, to find your own amazing team. ZipRecruiter, what it be? ZipRecruiter is the leading online marketplace that connects people to jobs in a really efficient way. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter find a quality candidate within the first day. That's fast, like Sonic fast. Gotta go fast. ZipRecruiter has powerful matching technology so that you spend less time and effort trying to find someone because their stuff will find a quality candidate really quickly for you, which gives you time to go back to doing what you do best, running a business and making those rings. That's a Sonic reference. Did you get it? You can post your job with just one click and the technology that they have starts matching immediately. And they've got an easy-to-use dashboard that allows you to rate, sort, and review candidates. Every day they help over 10 million job seekers with their searches. But don't take my word for it. You can see for yourself for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/CorridorCrew. Again, that is ZipRecruiter.com/CorridorCrew. Build your own team like Sonic today. All right, back to React.
you know, whether this is all real or CGI. Well, at this point in the movie, now this whole sequence is inhabited by 100% CGI characters.
It's like the burning cars look real. All the stuff knocked over in the little shop looks real.
Yeah.
If that's all CGI, then my brain is fried.
They all look good, but like they look CGI also. Like you can still tell they're CGI characters. And I'm not saying they're bad, they look great. But like there's still like a little bit of a difference you can just see. They film real things still, and they just like replace whatever they need to around it. It's kind of crazy that 3 Sonic films have come out since we started doing this show.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
And you know, like I remember one of the first critiques we had with being like, well, Sonic is this bright blue and the world around him feels so like normal and desaturated. And like, that's not the issue anymore. I feel like the art direction is perfectly married between the world around them and the characters at this point.
This is a cool little sequence.
Yeah, so
I dig it.
Sonic 3 has some very cringe-worthy moments. It's a kid's movie after all.
Konnichi-WHAAAA?
But I kind of think it's the coolest one. When it comes to like some of the action set pieces, I was kind of sitting up there thinking to myself, it's like, this is kind of sick. We should watch this next scene. It's got an Akira bike slide. CGI, CGI, CGI. It's all sweet. It looks great, but I love it.
Flows really well. It's fun to watch. It's cool how when Sonic goes into ball form, he squishes a little bit too.
Sparks!
Oh, there it is. Wow, what a punch.
Right? It's like, this is pretty sweet. This is cool.
Those wide shots, I mean, obviously that's all full CG.
Cool action, and obviously there's lots of great CGI in this. There's no question about it. This is definitely the best looking Sonic movie when it comes to like the characters and all this stuff. But Jim Carrey, who carries the movie, has the most tricky effects with his character because there's actually 2 of him in the movie.
I'm your grandfather. In the saggy flesh.
Dr. Robotnik meets his father, Dr. Robotnik Sr. I forget the names, I wasn't paying attention to that part.
It's as if we're 2 characters in a movie being played by the same actor.
But there's a very touching scene where after they're reunited, they realize that even though they're both evil, they do want to share a father-son bond.
I have the answer to everything. Come on, kiddo.
That little smile.
Wow, I totally forgot that they're both Jim Carrey. Wow. Oh, they're like, their arms untouching. They had to comp them together.
So, you know, watching this, obviously, we got our quote-unquote split screens. We have our motion controls.
The bike riding was pretty impressive, having him holding the handlebars.
I'm willing to bet it's a body double and then a head replacement, where he's actually still doing both, but they're extracting the performance out of one of them and putting it on the body double of the other one.
I'm guessing the person on the bike wearing the red shirt is the body double, and they put Jim Carrey's head on top of them. It's a perfect cutout, dropping another head, cut along the strap of the helmet. So you can kind of feel that there are 2 layers when it comes to the red shirt against the white lab coat. You don't really feel like ambient occlusion, that little bit of dark shading that happens when things kind of get next to something.
Yeah, I'm sensing that on the
there.
front of his face a bit there.
And there should also be red light bouncing up. Question is, how do you interact? So that hand that's on the handlebars.
Here's the thing I did learn. I read a interview with the VFX supervisor. I was like, okay, how did they do it? I'm trying to get some behind the scenes pictures. The answer he had was, they used everything. Nothing's off the table. Everything from motion control, split screens, we have our body doubles, we have our fully CGI heads. We also have effectively deepfakes in some of these shots, potentially.
Oh, interesting. So what makes this more challenging than just a regular split screen is their arms are kind of overlapping there a little bit.
And there's fireworks lighting that needs to be synchronized between the 2 takes.
Ooh, yeah, that's crazy.
So
So what
it actually helps marry them together really well.
They probably just have some synchronized LEDs going off that they can just play in a sequence and then play in a sequence again for both takes.
I mean, it's a bold choice to have them seated that close together because you can see there's a little line there where they're adding a shadow between them. And it's honestly pretty good. It's great work, but you can tell.
But it's also like balanced out by the synchronized lighting.
Let's take a look at one more slightly more advanced clone scene. They have to get through a laser room, and so they have laser-proof suits.
So now we can just dance right through.
That sounds like a challenge.
Hey, if you want to watch a scene with the actual original audio, go to corridordigital.com and watch it there. Because this is going to get copyright struck if we keep the original audio in.
What's crazy is, obviously we'll get into the clone stuff, but just bare bones VFX in this scene.
The lasers.
Lasers, and then also whether they're CGI or not, their bodies are fully 3D tracked. That way they have the little hexagonal shapes on it. So this scene, it's so much work. It's crazy.
Do you think it's Jim Carrey doing the actual dancing?
Yeah. What?
Wait.
It's an advanced split screen shot. They're both just separately doing the action, you combine them together. But then they grab their hands together.
They go behind each other there.
Still doable, still doable.
Still doable,
Close-ups
still
of the
doable.
faces.
Still doable, and then, whoa, what?
Like, what is that? Okay.
Wait, hold on, what's going on?
Immediately changes everything. That means they have to have two performers there.
Is there a Texas switch? Is there passing back and forth, and in doing so, there's a switch? So it's all the same take here, and then boop, that's a cut.
Wait a minute.
It's head replacements.
Niko, what's the difference between a CGI head and a head replacement?
Well, the head replacement could come from real footage.
Okay, so it's more surgical.
Yeah, I guess, CGI is the computer generated the image.
This is probably one of those scenes where it's like every single second was meticulously planned out and choreographed. It was probably a lot of, he did both takes. Probably a lot of different takes for both actors. And then they did body doubles for everything. And then they used just that moment where they, have their arms together, so they're only doing a head replacement for that moment, and then as soon as they separate, now we're going back to the two separate actions. But like for a shot like that, it cut there too. Those two shots are ones that they could get away with just doing the same shot over and over for 2 takes. Only when they're actually touching that they're like, all right, for those specific shots, body doubles and head replacements.
What a weird scene to be like meticulously critiquing.
Meticulously planned. Like, I truly don't feel like it's the same actor for both of them. Like, there's zero clone effect happening. Like, they cross the uncanny valley of twins.
To believe in retribution.
Wow, the fans must be so happy. Daredevil's back.
If you guys remember the original Daredevil, they had some really long one-ers, which are a little bit different than your classic, like, cameras going everywhere and it's really snappy one-er, but just like gritty, old boy-esque kind of one-ers. And of course, if you're gonna bring back Daredevil, you gotta bring back the one-er, right? Also, spoilers, important characters die in this scene.
That was bloody.
Wait, I missed it. I totally missed it. I looked away.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Disney's not for kids anymore, apparently. Oh, that's where Disney Adults comes from.
CG smoke bomb right in front of the camera. This is daring. Possibly a ruined shot if it does not turn out.
Hello, Karen.
Who is this miscreant who picks on neighborhood bars? Look at this CG dude.
Yeah, I was about to say, those are both like CG dudes right there. They both crash through the window. And then like the bullseye guy looks like a CG double as he gets up.
Yeah, there's a switch right there when a person went in front of the camera. I don't know if it switched to a CG person. That might have been.
Yeah, no, there's totally, he's a CG.
Yeah.
Are they CG right now?
Stun guy's going through the window. Notice they roll perfectly out of frame behind that counter. Then Bullseye immediately jumps up and throws another grenade or whatever. And then there's a person that crosses over. So now it's real.
No, it's not. That's totally fake. No, he's still CGI. Look how CGI he's moving.
When he gets up, there's a little bit of like almost looks animated. I think they're stitching together a few different takes.
Why does he look so CG?
I think it's because there's a tremendous amount of compositing going on because of all of the CG smoke.
But he's moving like a CGI guy.
Because these are probably the guys that do the motion capture for all the CGI. I think it's just our eyes tricking us from like the previous shot.
But, oh, no, you know what? When you kind of go frame by frame there a little bit, it does look more real.
Yeah, I think it's real dudes.
Yeah, but not at first.
In the first Daredevil one-er, they didn't have CG doubles. to stitch things like that. And now we do. It's interesting to see the jump in tech. And to like do the smoke effect like this in was effectively a TV show. You know, this would be unheard of like 10 years ago.
One of the biggest challenges with doing all the smoke like this is having that actual depth in the shot, like having the people composited at the correct depth within a smoke shot. When you render out smoke, it's a 2D element that's either in front of or behind your actors. And if you want to have them be sort of faded out, then you have to render out what's called a Z-pass, or do some sort of depth mapping on your scene so you can actually composite it correctly. You're actually rendering out far more than you're actually seeing when it comes to the smoke. You're having to render out all of the slices within it. Notice how every now and then there's a little person that like walks across the screen and like conveniently crosses both the bottom and the top of frame left to right.
But that's the go-to for hiding your hidden cuts, is people wiping in front of camera.
That was the biggest jump!
These dudes are moving almost like stop motion.
When they go from the middle to the wall, I think that's a digital performance, but it very smoothly transitioned to, then they were real. Like this is digital, 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 still digital, and real.
There's definitely like a bunch of like morphed motion for stitching things together. It's nice to see a Wonder that has a different vibe than like the hyper action Wonders that were popularized with Brad Allen. It's nice to see one that's just like a more chill, like walk through a building. It's very much like the Wonder from Protector with like Tony Jaa, where he's just going up the stairs. So you can feel how he gets tired. You can feel how it's a marathon. You know, it's not about being slick the whole time. It's about like the grit. And this one has a little bit of that vibe, which is nice.
Overall, this is incredibly well done. There's so many little details too that just work really well.
Daredevil does what Batman should actually be doing with his superpower, which is echolocation. Or they could call him Dolphin Man. That probably would.
Dolphin Man. And he just wears this shiny, skin-tight gray suit, just always dripping wet.
Is sonar different than echolocation?
Echolocation goes through the air, sonar goes through water. It's all sound propagation, but different mediums. Do you guys remember the movie Ted, starring Seth MacFarlane as a little teddy bear?
Yes.
Then there was a second Ted movie that came out. Well, both of those movies came out 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago. Have you guys heard about the Ted TV show?
Oh, last year we had an Indian kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but they got him.
What does that mean?
I liked him too.
Wait, what do you mean they got him?
That's cool. He says bad words, that's his superpower, right?
But the idea here is that they go back in time, Ted's in high school now, and he's still a little stuffed bear in composited footage a lot.
Such a good character description, synopsis. The little stuffed bear in composited footage. He's still CGI.
I want you to just look at the quality of Ted as a stuffed animal and then think about the fact that this is now extrapolated over the course of an entire season of TV.
Oh, awesome!
I mean, not just like compositing and motion tracking and rotoscoping, but also animation. It's hard enough to animate stuff, and like it looks like it's animated really well.
So that's the interesting thing about this. It's actually not that complex to animate this guy because he's very limited in his range of motion and range of expressions. The only thing that actually changes are basically the eyebrows and the shape of his mouth, and of course, the direction of his head tilt. So all of that goes into the actual acting and animation of the character.
Seth, if you ever watch our animators react, it'd be really cool to have you on. Either Seth. Seth Rogen, you can come back too if you want. This looks great.
Honestly, the biggest thing I'm impressed by is the compositing.
This looks photoreal. This looks
It's
perfect.
100%. What they did for the original Ted movies is they actually had Seth MacFarlane literally just off screen in a motion capture suit acting alongside the main actors in the shot. They would improvise a lot of the time, he would be responding to the actor, and they would be able to go back and forth, and then they would use that sort of motion capture data to drive Ted. But for this show, they did something completely different. A technology called view screen. It's essentially just utilizing phones and iPads and doing virtual production. And so they are able to actually see in the scene, Ted composited into the shot, low quality, kind of jank render, and they had two different control mechanisms piping into that character. They had a person with an Xbox controller controlling his arms and head motion and stuff like that. They also had an iPhone on Seth MacFarlane reading his face and piping that into the character as well. And so you would actually have an animated character live on set that everyone on set would be able to see and react to, including the camera operator knowing how to frame up the shot, all the grid grips, knowing where to put the lights. It goes back to what I've always called informed intent. It's like everyone's on the same page about what they're trying to create. But this only really works for all of the static scenes. Anytime Ted is like running around, that's when they have to actually do manual animation. And so Framestore did a ton of manual animation, a bunch of their own motion capture whenever like the scope of the shot changed at all. But this sort of view was being piped into all the monitors for everyone on set. And I think that is kind of the big deal here. And they're able to use most of that information, even if it's only reference, it's still very valuable reference. They still have a baseline for what the performance needs to be.
Crazy.
These guys are actually fully embracing the fact that our phones are some of the most advanced filmmaking tech out there.
Yeah, what a pain to sync it all up and like, oh, something glitches out or the firmware.
Yeah, you need a crew to run this stuff, that's for sure.
Talk about the right to bear arms. Hey, bear arms, bearing arms, right? Oh, man, everybody's missing all this great stuff.
I can't get over just how well he looks in the shot. Like the contrast is spot on every single shot.
It looks like he was filmed with the camera they filmed the shot with. Like they're matching the characteristics of the camera perfectly.
I think what makes this work so well is that it's just fur. It's a toy, it's a stuffed animal, and it's not having to deliver the range of emotional quality that, say, something like She-Hulk would have to do. It's like, it's not the same tier of difficulty as She-Hulk. That's some real good looking fur, man.
Little furry guys, who knew?
I got a janky clip for you guys.
Does it have little furry guys in it?
Yeah, kinda.
Oh, sweet, well we got a theme.
If we are going to survive this, we fight.
You know, it's your classic CGI fest from like the mid-2010s. Oh, dang, Jaden. Committed to that face smack.
Wait, play that again.
Oh, probably onto a pad, but dang, that looked great.
Also, I love how Will took a moment there to put his son in the manliest moment ever, which is bleeding out in the snow. You know what I'm saying?
That is a manly moment.
It's like one of the most manly things you can do, and they're like, this is gonna do it. This is gonna do it for him.
This might be a monster smells fear kind of thing, and so now he's no longer a coward, and the monster can't smell fear. I'm not scared anymore.
I'm not scared anymore.
I'm a man now. Whoa!
Yeah. Damn.
Dude, classic. That's always how you take down giant monsters.
Dude,
I mean, that's
yeah.
what bullfighting is in Spain. They run off the side of the stadium and then right into the bull.
Dude, that is what a classic move.
His face was so bright considering it was inches from the skin of the monster. Whoa!
That's very bright. That's very bright.
I like it's just pure artistic interpretation of radio waves.
No, it's future radio waves.
Sometimes I feel bad like ripping on these movies.
No, we're not ripping on it. We're breathing new humor and life into it.
M. Night has been ripped on so much in his life. Like, I feel like I just want to give him a hug. And let's be real, if I had to make this film after Earth, it'd probably be worse than this.
It looks like they're wearing dune suits, but instead of recycling water, it's just recycle farts. Then the monster won't smell you.
Hey, so if you're watching this episode and you're like, I haven't finished my cereal, I need more visual effects artists react. We have extended episodes on the website. They're about half an hour long. And they also let us have things like shots with the original music, so you don't get, copyright striked by YouTube. Memberships are $3.99 a month. No ads on any of our videos. 15% off merch. Yeah, I'm a VFX artist. That's a merch drop that's gonna happen at some point. Go to coredigital.com.
All right, thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week.